Okay, so I wanted to make this video to solidify a few of the technical, like chart reading developments that I've made, uh, especially over the past 2 days. I've been going on and on about this planning and making sure that the setups are involved and written out ahead of time, and I still think that's extremely important. But I also realize that there's a few small tweaks that I can make and certain places that I can emphasize a little bit more in terms of how I'm reading these charts that I'm confident will greatly improve my trading. Because the realization that I had last night, in particular, when I was looking at my shorts that I took on Monday and thinking to myself, like, oh man, had I just planned, those weren't in the plan, and that's true. That's a very legitimate point to bring up. But then I'm wondering, well, neither was entering a minute before my actual entry, or 4 minutes before, or 3 minutes before, or why didn't I long there? Or that also wasn't part of the plan. So there's certain there's a few more pieces to the puzzle than just the pure planning. And I worked to sort of take apart all of that here today. I really emphasized over the past like several years and all that, I really emphasized the bars themselves and the algos, the lines, but not so much the ranges, the horizontal support and resistances that show up on the chart. And I'm realizing now how important this is, right? Just base things like your higher lows, like those little consolidations, breakouts, breakdowns, the sideways ranges, right? So it's been eye-opening for me, even in just the past few hours of looking at these ranges, looking how my charts, my trades line up with some of these ranges and being like, wow, I could avoid a lot of BS, a lot of really poor trades if I had a better understanding of the markets breaking out and retesting of these ranges. I need to be constantly mapping them out diligently, actively throughout the trading day. So, yeah, I mean, I want to get into that a bit. So, just starting off with Monday's trades, because this was atrocious. These were like nasty shorts, right? And this is a tale as old as time, where right clear uptrend. I am right higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, and the story continues until eventually you have a true lower high breaking down. But the point I want to make is that this short here, this is nothing new. This has always been an issue. And the thing I always say to myself is, oh well, you didn't plan for or wait for the lower high, and those are good things. Those are good adjustments to make, but clearly they don't work as well as they should be because this still ends up happening, albeit less than before, but it still ends up happening. So in this example, I look at this and I started mapping out these ranges. I'm gonna draw this again. So there's a range here. There's a range here that we break out of. This forms another range. And when you start looking at it like that, well, I'm shorting right into this range here that has already formed support wicks, right? You see these wicks right here, right? And then I am shorting again right here, which has also already formed support wicks. And this is what? The top of the range, the top of that prior range that we just broke out of. So resistance, 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 all here. Support, support, support. I'm shorting into support. It's like, wow, okay. This is something that can be very big for improving my trading because right, I'm looking at this and I was like, oh yeah, you did follow the plan, like blah blah blah, and it's like, well, yeah, that's true, but a long here wasn't part of the plan either. What about a short here or here or here, or what about a long up here or a long here? Short there, long here. Why didn't I take any of those trades? Why just here? And there's something that I'm reading there that's that's not in alignment with how the market's moving and working in real time. So I need to find, rather than just saying just the planning, which is obviously very important, there needs to be a stronger technical indicator for me to just be like, oh yeah, no way. Because, there's no way in hell that I'm longing up here or that I'm going to be shorting here. Like, this just doesn't make sense for me. I wouldn't be, longing here. There's nothing there. Or here. I'm not trading the first minute. So it's like, when I map out these ranges, it gives me a little bit more of a clear technical context and reason and nuance to be like, hey, stay out of these shorts. It makes no sense here. Wick, 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 wick. Stay out of these shorts. Support, wick, wick, wick. All throughout here. So that's one thing. The other thing is what I call, so mapping out these ranges, having a very clear idea of what the supports and resistances are. And that goes both ways. That goes for entries as well. Look at the range that we broke out of here. Remember this? All these supports here, 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 here. We break out and we retest the range. We retest the prior support. This inflection level then becomes resistance. Short. And that's such a great lesson for me because it's showing you that these levels matter. The market reacts off these levels. And being able to see those ranges and then react off them is obviously going to provide another form of edge, a better context in how I'm reading the market. So another example was here. This was also atrocious. This range here, clear support, soon to be support level, right? So resistance, resistance, resistance at this box, right? We break out. You can't be longing here, right? This is what I'm calling the O.E.E.L, overextension, right? Too many up bars. Early, no retracement, leg. And we come down here and I'm getting short because I see the orange break, this teal, whatever. But you have to, just these baseline understanding of the horizontal support and resistance is going to make way more sense, be way more simpler, way simpler and easier to understand than the diagonal ones. You just see this basic level one, wick support, wick support, wick support, wick, 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 goes higher, can only go higher, right? And then we bring this here. We look at, again, the range from earlier. Perfect. We look at this range here, right? And then this range. So this whole area here is very important. And we have, again, what I'm calling the O.E.E.L. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm longing like up here. Like why? Okay, we just broke out of this range, cup closure. We have another range down here, right, of support that we can reclaim. So this is such a mess, but you can kind of visualize what I'm saying here, what I'm seeing, which is that if you're longing at the very, very top, look where that is horizontally, right? You're longing right up into this. This is a prior support. It's now resistance. This was a resistance here. So you're buying smack on the balls of the resistance, 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 resistance. You want to be buying where the support is. Support's here, support's back here. So buying here is more favorable, much more favorable, right? Man, I can't backtrack these lines. It's so annoying. So, and again, it goes into that same idea of the O.E.E.L, which is that you're buying up here 6 bull bars in a row. We just broke out of the cup. You need some sort of retracement, either a retracement back into the range, holding the support here. So here's your range, getting long here, 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 instead of up here, here, here. Right? That makes a difference. That's like 3.5 points. That makes a huge difference, right? And again, let's say you're longing up here. What is this? The prior resistance. So it's these ranges. The whole market is made up of these ranges. Range break, range break. Again, very clear range, 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 range. Supports here. We have a consolidation right here in this box, right? and I can even box it in. It's that clean. We break it, aligned with the red. We test the range here, you're getting short, right? And then I'm shorting here. This makes, again, this is the O.E.E.L. You have too strong of an up move without any retracement, too strong of a down move without any retracement, and you're shorting where? At the prior support. This is support, 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 support. So this, and you're just getting short all around here. So buyers, buyers, buyers here, buyers from here, holding. So previous support becomes resistance, previous resistance becomes support. This is a clear level. So something like that is going to be needed, right? So these ranges, these horizontal ranges are clearly just so important. This is a big revelation for me. I know it sounds so obvious, it's so stupid. I'm catching on to this now, but yeah, I think this is going to be very important, very beneficial for my trading. So yeah, just another way to avoid this is the O.E.E.L, right? Where is the lower high here? Where is some sort of retracement? This is just too large of a move, too large of a move. Right here as well. Yep, beautiful. Beautiful example right here. Because we have the, and excuse me, these charts are such a mess. Because I was just charting and recharting stuff after, so it's not really meant to be viewed super cleanly right now. But right, you can see this range very clear. Right, so I'm getting short here, around here. No, you want to be getting short where the resistances are, up here. Previous support breaks down, we retest the range, it becomes resistance. That's where you want to be getting short, on the right there, right? And here's a beautiful example of the early. In this case, it works. In most cases, I should not be taking these whatsoever, right? Where it just drifts down, and no real lower high, and then it just grinds sideways here. You get this, you know? Here it breaks out early. Clears Omi on the H1 break, and I'm getting long here. Now let me show you again why this is bad. This is very poor. Beautiful range right here. This is the previous low, right? So you're getting long here, right into resistance, just barely reclaimed. We're in the range, in the chop here. Haven't really reclaimed it, haven't really built any structure. We're just sort of grinding up into it, and you're longing right here. Delete all that. Again, support, 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 support. Expect it to be resistance. We see it wicking, we see it rejecting. Mindless long, mindless long. Hold, hold, hold. You see the support, support. It's holding. I mean, it's rejecting. We're just in the way. And then you see it actually build a structure here, right? Inverse head and shoulder. You see the wick reclaim of at the support. Now you have a trade, right? And then beautifully, we come right back into it. We have that same range right here. We break back in. That previous resistance breaks back down. We come up and we retest it again. There's your short. So I mapped it out. Not there. I mapped it out here. All right, where you can see the ranges, holding, 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 break out. This range gets retested. Previous resistance, support, 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 support. Previous support breaks, becomes resistance. I mean, it's textbook. Resistance, 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 breaks out, support, 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 support. Training my eyes to see this. Support, 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 breaks, resistance, resi, resi, resi. Training my eyes to see this. It's huge. It's huge. Extremely important. And it becomes so clear when you start to see it like this. Another example. Support, 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 breaks out, retest perfect. Support, 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 holding, still holding, right? Comes up in this range. Look how this range gets respected. Right here as well. Resistance, resistance, still resistance.
Can't be longing up here. It doesn't make sense, right? You want to see something formed. Okay, cup closure. You want to see a handle. You want to see a reclaim of here or here, right? So like this, right, where you come down, where we have this, you come down, and then you get the rejection in alignment with this resistance, 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 previous support. That's beautiful, right? This support now fully becomes resistance there. You're not mindlessly, you know, buying into this. Buying into to here is foolish, right? Because previous support becomes resistance all throughout here. So that's something that I need to be working on. Mapping out these ranges very diligently, being aware of the supports, how the market's reclaiming them, they turning into resistance, and being clear on how the market is interacting at those levels, as well as the overextension early leg, where I'm getting that retracement, that right here, like that break and pull back into the leg, into the range, break, and then pull back here into the range resistance. And then where's the other example, like that here, break, pull back into the prior supports, or resistance, resi, support, 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 right? So beautiful. All right, thank you very much.